All right, welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we discuss strategies to maximize your creativity and help you achieve financial freedom. Hi, Michelle, and hi, Jose.
Hello.
Hey guys, hi Nick.
Jose, you are the first recurring guest on the Creation to Cash Flow podcast, so we had to bring you back by popular demand, and we are so excited to have you here for another chat.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to be back with you, two amazing beings, and I love the passion and the intention behind creation to cash flow. So it's always a pleasure to be back on stage with you guys.
Can't wait. I think we are probably just going to jump around a lot today because based on what everyone else has said, they just want to understand you better, Jose, and your way of living and sharing your gifts. Um, so I think just to open it up, just so we just have some sort of talking point, because we're going to talk about all sorts of life optimizations and wisdom and things of that nature. But I think the first thing I would love to know, Jose, and we can maybe start off with this, is what you've been up to lately. What are you working on? What's the latest in your life? I know you're traveling through Europe right now.
Yeah, right now this is happening in Greece. It's not a small island, but it feels like remote. It's called Lesbos. It's on the far east of Greece, across Turkey, and I've been doing some gatherings. For me, one of my passions is to be able to gather with individuals that are passionate about life, about music, about transformation, and this is usually my time to travel through Europe, enjoy long days and the good European quality of life. What am I working on? What's exciting for me right now? I have a few retreats coming up. That's always exciting. I love doing digital experiences and content, but I don't know about you guys. I know you guys had a big gathering just like 2 months ago, and it looked amazing. Like doing in person, there's something that this will never. This is very good, but when you can do in person, meet individuals in person, give them a hug, experience their energy, cry together. That fills my cup, definitely. Um, and also you're working on some online offerings that we can discuss in a bit. It's always good to be able to share our magic. But I have a question. What would you say it was the most meaningful insight, Michelle and Nick, of being able to host your first in-person gathering? Because it's been like 2 years that you were doing online or more.
Basically, yeah, that we've been, yes, yeah.
And how did it feel?
You first, Michelle.
Oh my goodness. It felt very surreal because it felt so normal, but it also was just so easy to connect because, like you said, we've been connecting for over 2 years now digitally. So when we got together, it felt so normal, but it felt so much more powerful. Like for us to be in the same room and put our heads together in person, it was just like, I remember we did our podcast and we were like, oh, that was so short. And it was like 50 minutes long. And we were like, wait, how did we just talk for that long? Being in person, it's just, you can't replace that in person connection.
Yeah, because not only did we get to meet all of the amazing creators that we work with, but like me and Michelle never get to do anything in person either. So that was kind of a rare opportunity, even though we'll probably end up getting to do a whole bunch more moving forward. It was just so fantastic just to share a space with people that are super like minded because like the internet is so wonderful in social media. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but like my favorite part about social media is connecting with people like you guys that like you have conversations with them and it just feels like your third eye opens sometimes when you talk with people, and like that's how I feel every time I chat with you, Jose. Like I'm so happy that we stay connected as well as we do because every time we talk it's just so profound, and that's just the best part of these in-person connections. How about you, Jose? How has it felt being in Greece and all throughout Europe hosting your own retreats?
First of all, I want to honor you two for doing such a great job with that gathering. And as you said, like you do so much work online. You know each other, and Mike so well, but like getting to be in person and as I say, like nurture your community in person, it's big. And I do want to talk about that in a second, about the impact of being able to work in person. Being in Greece, I just sent a newsletter yesterday, and I think it was my longest newsletter, and it was really beautiful to just be typing, and the word was authenticity. And the first statement of my insights of why authenticity, and reflecting upon the power of, I think authenticity is a virtue. We all have the possibility, but we don't always express it or live it as a virtue. I'm writing these lines from a beautiful island in Greece because of authenticity, and I think that's my big takeaway of being so in awe, but also grateful and happy to know that I can do what I love in Greece because of the decisions and that I've taken, and also because of the learnings I've had. And this all adds up into the part of authenticity. Like I feel like I can be here because I allow myself to be me. And if it was for other reasons, I would not be here. It will be looked upon not so well. I will probably be following other dogmas or rules, bullshit rules. I love the word rules, bullshit rules. And I think it connects to what you guys are doing, creation to cash flow, because it's allowing individuals to become sovereign and empowered doing what they love, their content. Like I see your content, Michelle, and I'm like, how amazing is that you can share your lifestyle and make a living from that, support others in hacking their way through life by optimizing their routines or their home or their beauty, and it also allows you to live the life you want. So I think creation to cash flow and all this, it's a very new world, being able to create abundance through content. I think we're living in a golden age, and it's beautiful that we can experience that, and I can be in Greece doing what I love.
Jose, just for anyone who has not gotten to listen to our past episode with you, who is the authentic Jose, and what do you do? Because I just realized that some of our listeners might not know. And I mean, it's hard to describe what you do. I would just, if I had to put it in like 2 or 3 words, I would just say like Jose is a magician.
Hmm. Hmm. I had some goosebumps as soon as you asked me who am I, because again, this is related to the word authenticity, and it relates to what I do. And I've been working, like I've been going very deep into what I do to be able to communicate it in words, especially digitally. If we spend time together, I'm sure we're gonna spend some time together one day, Michelle. I'll be in LA soon. You will know. It's like we can tell the energy of each other. Online, sometimes how can I encompass everything I do into a digital way, or into a sentence? But I think I've been able to fine tune the words, because words have so much power, and we can talk about that also. How what do I do? What's my magic as a wizard, as you said? My magic and my gift and my passion is supporting you to be you. And I feel that's will encompass everything I do. It could be through breathwork, through mindset and transformational coaching, through plant medicine ceremonies, through very intentionally curated experiences around the world. But all of that is, it's the means, the how. But what do I do? Is I support you to be you. And I think we live in a time that being you is often overlooked or underrated or simply unknown. Like, what does it mean to be me? I am, therefore you are.
That is a perfect way to put it, because like you said, I can't describe what you do, and I can try and describe what it's like sharing a space with you. And sharing a space with you, Jose, is like, it almost feels like taking off a mask that you didn't know you were wearing. Like, you just help open up everything that needs to come out or needs to be found within a person. And even just sometimes when we FaceTime, like, it just feels like everything is just revealed to me, and you create the space, whether it's through a breathwork exercise or plant medicine or anything, or just a conversation. You create that space where things just reveal themselves to you, and the clarity that people lack, you bring that to them, and that's why you're it's magic. I don't think that everyone can do that.
Um, Thank you, Nick, for that. And I do believe everybody can do that. I do know that we have not been raised in an environment where that doing that or being that, which is being you and me being me, is encouraged, because there's so many masks and facades and responsibilities, ideas, rules, and and mostly beliefs, limiting beliefs of what will happen if I am me. Then it also makes you be you, but then everything that is not you and everything that is not me, even though it sounds like a tongue twister, everything that is not you, everything that is not me, crumbles. And if I had to choose a word that is what you were trying to describe or you were describing, is vulnerability. And I think that's why we have those FaceTime calls, because we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And uh, as I'm saying this, for example, Michelle, what would you say has been a pivotal moment in your life that has allowed you to crack open your vulnerability? Because we know the quality of our life, even of this conversation, gets exponentially accentuated or strengthened the more we allow ourselves to be ourselves.
I would say it's acting class. Being in acting class, you have to be seen. You have to be vulnerable with each one of your scene partners. We do improv during every single class. I'm about to finish this weekend is my 1 year that I've been doing it. And you you have to unmask, you have to take off those conditions of what we've been taught, and you have to almost unlearn what society expects of you and really deep dive into who am I, what are my foundational beliefs, and what is it that I truly want. And so I would say acting class has allowed me to truly unmask. And of course, I still have boundaries and things up in my life as I should with certain people, but I've learned who I am through that. Through the breaking down of myself, I've learned who I am. I've seen who I am, and it's only built up my confidence into stepping into more of who I am.
And who are you?
I'm just me. I don't know. How do you describe that? I'm just a girl who loves helping people and loves not conforming. I love not
Mm,
being put in a box. I love just creating. I love coming up with spontaneous ideas. I love doing what I say I'm going to do, but also not committing to a lot of things. So I have the mental space to hear more from the universe, from things above, like what should I be doing? Like I love that space of peace and quiet. I create it every day. And I think that it's a huge part of who I am is me like desiring that. It fills my tank to just sit in silence and to just start creating something without knowing where it's going. So I think that I don't know how to explain who I am, but that's who I am. I don't know the word for it, but I'm
mm,
different and we all are. We're all unique.
mm. Well, yeah, it's really beautiful to get a deeper insight into who you are. And I think this is, I think, like, in you guys focus a lot into creation, content creation, and I think this is reflected in what you do. And I think this is a virtue and a value, again, same as authenticity, to be able to really enjoy what you're doing, because I can tell you're enjoying what you're doing. As you said, you make that space to fill up your tank, and then you can give your best. And I think this is the fine line between, like, pushing yourself and trying to pretend or fill up a cup that is not yours. Which, okay, you exited the rat race, so you're not working 9 to 5, but now you're on the hamster wheel, running in a different box. So it's really cool to know that you've created that space for you to be able to shine your passion.
Yeah, the older I get, I realize how short life is, and I just don't want to live my life doing something that makes me unhappy or doesn't feel aligned with what I want to do. And it changes, and I'm open to pivoting in life. I'm open to whatever direction I need to take as long as I know it's what I'm supposed to do and it's not based on what others are expecting me to do. And that's been so freeing, just having that perspective.
Nick, is there a moment you would say define your full Nick authentic coming online? And when I say online, just to make a disclaimer, I mean like fully online, means like connected to the divine, and also of course here.
Yeah, I definitely, what comes to mind is when I changed my username on Instagram from Nick underscore Vitello to get ahead with Nick. And I pretty much just decided, I was like, honestly, everything about who I am is like, I'm get ahead with Nick. Like, I'm self development Nick. I'm like, put on my blue light glasses at night. I'm coconut water in the morning. I'm eating a mango in the grass. Like, that's who Nick really is. And I feel like I was always sheltering that from people so I could fit in better. But like the moment that I changed my Instagram username, because I did it on my existing Instagram account that for the first 20 years of my life, like I was accumulating like all my followers were people that I know in real life. I didn't make a new account hoping people didn't see the real me. I was like, I'm about to show people the real me. And I changed my username and I just started showing up so raw and authentically online that a lot of people were like, okay, I think Nick's gone off the deep end. And a lot of other people were like, I feel like I always knew that's who Nick really was. And like everyone's reactions were all different. But for me, that was like the moment that I was like, I'm about to tap into who I really am. And it was like the most like, here I am, everyone. Like, here's Nick. Here's who Nick really is. And from there, that was when everything kind of started to change for me and fall into place. And I think that's the moment for myself.
Hmm. And that's something definitely I'm inspired by seeing your content always. You know how you will display your breakfast uh, board and things that are like so simple, but it sparks a lot in other people, including myself, because it's like you're really showing us a glimpse into your life. You're not like doing a whole photo shoot to portray like 1% Nick. This is get ahead with Nick. So yeah, it's always inspiring to see so what you're sharing.
Lately, it's been just like I've just been challenging myself to be like, how much more raw and authentic can I be? And I will just put up videos like playing my guitar and singing, and I'm just like, I'm not a good singer, and like I'm still so new to guitar, and I'm just like, I just want people to see who I really am because it's I feel like everyone is trying to be someone, not everyone, but a lot of people are trying to be someone they're not so they can make more money or have a certain impact. And like the biggest impact I can have on people is just by being myself and letting others know that like you can be you, you can share what you want online, and the more true and authentic you are to you, like people can see that and people can feel that even if they can't describe it. Like even if you can't describe like who is Nick, they can see it at least. And is that is a powerful but vulnerable thing to share.
Hmm. Totally, I agree with every single word you've been sharing.
How about you, Jose? When did you have a moment like this where you were, I forget how you worded it exactly, but where you almost like unveiled yourself?
Hmm. Again, this topic has been very present in my conversations with my friends here, and with also online with some other friends. And I was sharing with them. Just I've been growing up. I went through 11 schools. One was due to a change from Mexico to Spain. I grew up in Spain, was born in Mexico, so that was one necessary. But then in Spain, in a lapse of 9, 10 years, I went through another like 10 schools, 9, 10 schools, and it was not because I was like a rebel in the sense like I was not like fighting with others or not even with the teachers, but somehow I always felt that I was, for me to be able to be accepted into the educational system, I had to follow the orders and follow the structure and pretend I do care when I didn't really care. And there were subjects I did care and I excelled, but most of them I did not really resonate to that. And I am so grateful that I was able to follow that hunch of don't don't try to fit in, even though at the moment everything pointed out that I was gonna be, the extreme case, like I'm gonna be like a criminal, or I'm gonna just be a good for nothing because I was not fitting in within the societal norms, and I was not conscious of what I was doing. It was totally unconscious. It was just like something, my higher self, me, the rebel me, maybe not fitting in. But everything started to change probably when I decided to move from Spain to Canada, to because I love skiing. I'm like, not gonna make a living from skiing, but I want to pursue something that makes me passionate, that I'm passionate about. And I think that's the moment I started to become authentic, instead of trying to follow, okay, what's next, and just go through it. This made me so happy. And as soon as I took that decision, so many other doors started opening. And here I am in Greece, through that moment of, I know there's something else, and I'm gonna follow that calling. And I think that's where authenticity starts to come. Same for you with Get Ahead with Nick. I remember you told me the story of how you had this calling to, like, okay, I'm gonna develop myself, and I'm gonna create a vision board, and I'm gonna share it. And it was, we don't really think about it, because sometimes it's much bigger than our consciousness, but we follow that hunch, that intuition. And for me, my intuition was, go explore, there's something else. And through that, I realized also that I enjoy being around people that are authentic, and that they are willing to be vulnerable. And and that is probably the pivotal moment for me, when I decided to move to Canada, and decided to honor what was authentic to me, instead of trying to please my parents, instead of trying to please my friends. Were telling me like, what the fuck are you gonna do in Canada? You need to get a degree in this. I did go to school and everything, but I was not doing it in the traditional way. And I think that has paid off a lot, because I realized that's my super power, my gift, to be able to see and allow individuals to be themselves. And I always say we cannot really give something that we're not. So for Michelle to be able to inspire others to have a beautiful sanctuary home, you have one. So that's authentic to you. Nick, for you is how to become like personal development, and how to monetize from your content. You're doing that. And the same for myself. For me, it's like allowing my innate excitement and intuition to be what guides me, is what allows me to guide others in that same pursuit.
How do you surrender, and like, to someone listening, how do you surrender to that feeling of like, I feel like I'm being called to go do this, but like it's not easy to just kind of like drop your life and move to a different place, or take that jump, or do that thing. Like, how can someone surrender to that and have trust in the
Mm,
process?
mm, that's a really good question. Um, I would say there's, in our personality, there's different types of personality types. I am more on the radical side. I'm willing to drop everything. And like when I fell in love with my partner, we were in Canada, and she was moving to Bali, and I was already setting up my life in Canada. I was really well. I was about to open a restaurant and whatnot, and then I decided to drop everything to go to Bali. I never even heard about Bali. I didn't. I just looked at a picture of Bali like 2 days before leaving. I already had my flight, and it was, what's the key word here? Excitement. I was so excited for this new love, but also for an adventure of a new place. Even though I already had it pretty good where I was, and I was like, well, if it's good here already, that I left my family in Spain, why is it not going to be good or even better if I go to Bali to pursue a new idea, or a new feeling? So I think some people can do that. Some people must take it more gradually. For some, it's a lot for the nervous system. But the common denominator here is excitement. And I once learned these three rules or guidelines, principles to living your best life, which is: number one, follow your highest excitement regardless of the outcome, and always do your best. So number one is the crucial one. Like when we get that hunch of excitement of, hey, there's this opportunity, the first thing that's going to come is your mind, your prejudice, your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, the voices in your head, which are nothing but voices, the voices of your parents, everybody around you that knows more about you than you, apparently. you're gonna feel resistance because you're moving from a known place to a new place. And when you go to a new place, which is, you can only feel these butterflies when it's completely new. If not, you're doing more of the same. If you change job but it's the same, then you're not really doing something new. But when you're given an opportunity to go across the world or across the country or even a different neighborhood, uh, and you feel that excitement, that you have two options: to follow the excitement, or B, repress, condense, and the outcome of this is stress, anxiety, and depression. Depression is compression. If you think about it, depression is compression. It's when we don't allow ourselves to expand. And when you feel this excitement and you allow it to be expressed in emotion, it, for me, it's like the click. Whenever I feel excitement, even if it rationally doesn't make sense, especially then, because our rationale will not allow us to take those steps beyond what we know, those are the decisions that have impacted my life the most. So for somebody watching this and they're like, how can I start being more myself? How can I act upon it, not just intellectualize? Because we talk a lot about being your true self. It's very often spoken about in personal development, in mentoring, but this is cannot be a concept. This is an experiential, like visceral virtue that we must experience in our body, in our hearts, in our belly. And when you feel that excitement, do a favor to yourself and see, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna follow this. The second rule is regardless of the outcome, because then you're like, okay, I've been invited to go on this fishing trip, but then the second one, well, I don't know if I'm gonna fish anything. Well, I could be doing this other job, or well, I don't know what they're gonna think about me. So, or I don't even know if it's the best thing for me. But if it's exciting, it doesn't really matter how it is. On the way to that and while doing it, even if you come back empty-handed, that experience is priceless. Just for you following that excitement, you're teaching your body to follow the signs of the universe. And you're also allowing yourself to trust in what you cannot see. And this is also a good lesson about faith. And faith is believing something that you cannot sense through your senses, like see, touch, taste, or feel, right? So it's something, faith is in the known. And I think that's what excitement is guiding us towards. And um, you do your best while doing it. Even if it fails, you don't really fail because you acted upon that excitement. Then you're telling the universe, I'm ready. And the universe will keep fulfilling that. And I'm sure both you, Nick, or Michelle, you probably have some cool story about how doing this has allowed you to be where you are. And actually, I think, Michelle, you told me last time you live in LA based on this.
Yes, you're right. That is exactly how it happened. But we also talked about this yesterday because we recorded a podcast episode yesterday. And what the main thing was we were both given opportunities at our previous job before we left to do our business full time. And we both didn't feel excited about the changes they were trying to accommodate us with to keep us at our jobs. And we were both like, we didn't feel the excitement. And if it doesn't excite you, then why are you doing it? And if it does excite you, there's a reason and you should pursue it. So yeah, that's exactly how I'm in LA. Even how I'm in a penthouse right now, it's because I got excited about it, and I was like, "Is it logical? I don't know. Probably not to most people, but to me, it feels right, and I'm gonna do it." And I it started with a tiny little thing I did, and then I was like, "Oh, I didn't die. I'm still alive. I'm thriving. Let me try another thing that's a little less scary than like my biggest dream." And then it built up. It's like I built that trust in myself, trust in my intuition, and the faith that it will all work out, especially if I'm excited and my intentions are good. I feel like if I pursue something with the best intentions at heart, even if it wasn't the right thing to do, I will always be redirected because my intentions are pure and I'm just following my true excitement in life. So that's just so crazy that you said that because that's literally, we talked about that so much yesterday, Nick.
Yeah, it's true. That was pretty much exactly the topic. It was like we didn't word it this way, but like chasing your highest excitement. Your words are so profound, Jose. I'm like, I'm upset that we're doing a podcast and I can't write them all down. Like I'm trying to scramble and be like, yes, like
I'll send them to you, so maybe you can put in the comments or whatever. That and anyways, I cannot claim these are mine. These are from, maybe it's very out there. It's from a being called Bashar. He's a channeler. Uh, a 300 years in the future being that is channeled by a human like us. And he came. Actually, I just got the right words. follow your highest excitement regardless of the outcome, and always, yeah, always, yeah, always keep a positive mindset. Yeah, those are the three. And I mean, that's why we are where we are, because and I think these are the key elements of what we're talking about: authenticity. How do I start to be authentic? When you feel that hunch, act upon it, because opportunities are always coming to all of us to be able to show up more like ourselves. Like, people keep saying, God, please, miracles, and we are the living miracle. I think, like, asking from God from like a victimhood is actually repelling that energy of God. Not God, because God loves us infinitely, but is repelling that energy. It's always giving us opportunities to show up more. But if we uh, are conditioned by our beliefs, we're conditioned by that voice, by that rationale, as Michelle was saying, like, it didn't logically make sense. And as a matter of fact, logic is based on your previous experience. And if your previous experience have been limited, have been not authentic, have been uh, conditioned, then anything you take from the logic is going to be repetition of the same. And we know the repetition, we know what Einstein said is the definition of insanity, right? Doing something over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's where we see so many of our very loved beings around in our life, our family, our friends, sometimes ourselves, expecting a different result while we're doing the same thing. That is insanity. And insanity and many of the afflictions we see in the modern day, such as the ones I mentioned earlier: stress, anxiety, depression, feelings of overwhelm. It's all happening when we are not being ourselves. Because when I'm not me, then I'm taking decisions that is not for me. So I will take a shitty job, a shitty pay, a shitty relationship, shitty relationships, like not only loving but also friendships, a shitty environment, a shitty place to be living, and then you I live a shitty life, and then I'm like, why is my life like this? It all started because I was not listening to that hunch within me, and one of those is, for certain, at least in my life, has been excitement. Like, I do things based on excitement, even if logically it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't make financially sense. I don't want to say lost, but I've lots of money. I've done decisions that have not been the most financially sound, but I will not change it otherwise, because it's been so exciting to be able to take that trip when things look it didn't make sense, or go to India when things were not. It's just, I feel like this is what is pushing your logic and your rationale to be able to expand into those uncharted territories, and to be me.
Can you expand on this part? I think this is where a lot of our listeners are really like ready for an aha moment, is like doing it in the face of like financial scarcity. I think that's really something. Like, money is such a good reason to not chase the exciting thing. You can easily let your brain talk you out of the exciting thing because of how much money it's going to cost, or how much money you might not have, or the way things are looking, or the economy. How do you have trust in something like following that exciting thing if like financially your brain is telling you not to?
Mm, Also a really, really good question. And this is a very powerful topic to be able to develop here, because it's at the root of us human beings. Like, money is energy, but it's money also. We, on the very spiritual way, we can say, like, it's energy, and there's not good energy or bad energy. It's just energy, and um, spirituality might be beyond money, but money is at the root. The root chakra is that part of of safety, and money is relevant in the way that, if when there's no money, it takes lots of mental real estate in your mind. And I'm pretty sure we've all been there. When there's like less money, you're thinking about money so much, so every decision you're taking is based upon like how little money I have. But when there's money, you just act even easier on your excitement, because you don't really think about the financial part. And I think this is what keeps many people bound to their uh, indoctrination indoctrinating jobs into their limiting selves, limiting realities. Because if you, as we're talking about insanity, if I'm doing something and I'm not experiencing the results I wish to experience, and then money is an issue or is taking real estate in my mind, and I'm afraid of taking a decision outside of my conventional self, what are the chances that my life will change? I say I want to change. I live my life the same way throughout the day. Then I go to bed and then I victimize to God. Why is my life not changing? Well, you haven't really changed anything. And all men and women live, but very few true true. All men and women are alive, but very few live. And that's a powerful statement that I keep to myself always, to be like, those that live are the ones that have the courage and are brave enough to pursue their dreams. And you guys are a clear example. You guys are living and enjoying the benefits of living your dream and creating your dream, and getting to know yourself through this dream. And I'm sure it's not always been easy. I'm sure we could do a whole podcast session of all the troubles and tribulations and the low points and the empty bank accounts and max out credit cards that have allowed you to be where you are. Um, the way to break free from that limited self when taking a decision is, I don't believe also in like in having to put yourself into an overly stressful situation financially so you can do something, but you can always do something that is taking you one step further. So maybe you're not ready to do a $5,000 course with Tony Robbins for personal development. Hey, do sign up to the $200 course or to the $100 course. There's always something. I always say stretch your capacity a little bit beyond your current, without, there's no need to put yourself in a $20,000 debt just because you heard on the podcast. Go beyond and follow the excitement. I want to go to Fiji and surf the biggest waves when your finances are not good. And I've done both. I've been able to push, and them like, it was not worth it. It's not worth it to put so much pressure again in my mind in that sense. But find something, ideally daily, that you can do already to take action upon that excitement that is pushing you away from your conventional self. Your conventional self is the small self with lowercase s. Your higher self is when you're taking those decisions that are pushing your comfort zone a little bit further, a little bit further. And we know, and I think this is the key, is compounding your decisions, compounding those decisions outside of your comfort zone. I could also tell you to do a crazy or amazing, depending how you look at it, and move somewhere completely different, sell everything, or if you don't have anything, you don't even have to worry about selling, just move somewhere else. I love that way, but I think for most people, it's too much for the nervous system. It's too much unless you're ready to really like experience a radical change, which I think we all deserve. But if you're watching this and you're, how can I take a decision even though I feel maybe the pressure of my finances? Invest in yourself a little bit. Take a trip, even if it's to a country home on Airbnb, 1 hour. Take yourself a weekend, no device, no cell phone, for yourself. Invest in a course to learn how to be more financially successful or to get to know yourself better. Treat yourself, even giving yourself a massage, like treating yourself to a massage, which is, why would I spend $100 or $150 when I'm maybe I'm it's hard for me to pay the groceries bills for the week. That massage will allow you to expand, to soften up, and this is the key. I think, as I was saying this, the more you can soften, the more you can regulate your nervous system and your emotional system, the better you're going to be able to welcome abundance, the more coherent your decisions are going to be made, and the more you're going to be able to see the signs that are going to be supporting you to break free from that limited financial situation or limited life experience.
Yes, that's everything. You just said my entire life, but summed it up in such a beautiful way. That's just, oh man, Jose. Wow.
Yeah, you are such a light, Jose. You really are, because it's so hard to put these things into words sometimes. And even it's not just about making it understandable, but when you say these things, I feel it in my bones. Like it rattles me when you say these things. And I know that our listeners too are just like having these, like if I was listening to this right now, like I feel like I need to pull my car over, but I'm not even driving, because I'm just like, wow, like I gotta let that one sit in. Like we're so blessed to have you on this show today and just tap into your wisdom because you're so wise, Jose. And like that advice, like I'm taking it too. I'm not just like, oh, this is for our listeners. Like I'm writing these things down. I can't wait to re-listen to
And
this.
we're doing like when we have our calls, like I know so many times I'm telling you, Nick, like hey, we're not telling you like inspiring Nick, take that bold decision, do that
Right.
thing that is scary. Like why is it? Because I feel like this conversation is the way it is. Could it be my wisdom? I don't know. Like who am I to say like I have wisdom and you don't have wisdom? I feel like it's happening because of the space of authenticity, of vulnerability, that we're willing to accept that we've all been in the same situation or we might be in the same situation. And and it is very much needed in this digital world, in this world where lots of facades and like fake uh, personalities are happening, to be able to inspire each other, because the time of me is really, it's so old school. It's like so yesterday. The time of we is now, and that's why I do what I do, and I know that's why you guys do. You guys are doing a podcast every week out of love. Like nobody's sponsoring your podcast, and it's because there's something in you guys saying like, well, we are making it, why can't we support others to also make it this way? And let's support each other. And that's why this part of breaking free from the limiting conditioning, and opening up your authentic self and following based on excitement is so important to share, so we can enjoy this with so many more people. I think everybody deserves this. Everybody deserves to live life under their own terms, and to experience life like you guys are doing, or I'm doing, and lots of our loved ones are doing.
Yeah, I think you're just operating so much in your genius. And that's one thing that I'm personally passionate about. One thing that I'm just, for every podcast we do, I'm like, I want people to dive more into who they are, because when we become that person, everybody is capable of their own genius. We're all made so uniquely different for a reason. And I feel like you're so gifted at, when you talk, I visualize things in my life. And if you did not listen to the radical decisions and the things that you've listened to, we wouldn't be blessed with your presence, with your words. And so I love that the more people can come to their authentic selves, the more they can be operating in their own unique gifts and genius. And then the world would be a better place. Like everything would be better for the people around you when you're just being you. And I feel like, Jose, you're such like an inspiration because you have tapped into that, because it's easier to just be comfortable for a lot of people, and you decided, no, I'm gonna go to Bali even though I've never even googled a photo before, and it's led you to this exact moment in time where you can share this with us. So when I'm thinking about my motivation, it's always like I want everyone to be able to share their thing with the world, that the beautiful thing they bring to it. So just like thank you for being you, obviously, but also just really tapping into your gifts and being willing to even share it with others, and especially just us on this podcast. It truly means so much to me.
Hmm. And I think when I was asking you, who are you? And I think I just got a even deeper answer right now. Like your mission, your purpose. Who are you? Like you. I'm so grateful to hear your mission. Thank you. Thank you for the work you do.
All right, I feel like I'm getting so much value from this that I want to bring up a topic that I know will be so impactful for Michelle right now. And Jose, I'm sure you'll have some wisdom. Um, Michelle is expanding her team and she's looking to like almost let go of some creative control in order to expand her team and share more of her gifts. But that is, of course, a difficult thing to do. And I want to just open up the conversation to that topic, Jose. I would love to hear like what you would say to someone like Michelle, or just Michelle because we have her here obviously, in a situation like this where, I mean, Michelle, if you want to give more details, you can obviously explain it better than me, but
Yeah, basically, I'm in this season of delegation, and it's so new for me to delegate things that are creative because I'm such a creative person. So I have assistants, but I'm finally hiring somebody to help me with my video editing, cross posting content, stuff like that, where it's directly tied to my personal brand. And it's difficult, not that it's a bad difficult, but it's very difficult for me to make a decision on who would be best to work with, who can I trust to have all my information and the freedom to basically post anything on my channels without me having to like physically approve it. So delegating is not the easiest thing for me, but I'm learning, but it's still it's not easy. I would love some advice on that.
It's an exciting uncharted territory. That's why there's that feeling that of uneasiness, which is excitement, and it also can turn into like panic or stress. But it's just you're moving towards you're growing, and this is growing pains, and it's so beautiful that you're coming with this energy. And also there's like that what will happen, somebody has all my keys, all my information. I think as you were as soon as Nick was sharing a little bit, and you were sharing and just sharing a little bit more of the context, the keyword. And again, I love working operating on like simple words. Like if I cannot say something in 1 or 2 words, then it's too complicated. So let's go back to the to the boardroom and sketch out to find the essence. And the essence right now, I think, is like intention. Having a very clear intention of what they're doing. No, first what you are doing, and what they're doing, and making sure that that person is. And again, this could be a little bit woo woo, if even though we're talking about business and very 3D things, they must be vibrationally aligned to your intention. When you talk to them and share with them your vision, they have to feel like a full yes to you. Unless you're also like a woman, and women usually tend to have very deep intuitive skills. But when you're sharing this with this person, like, it has to be a fuck yes. And this again, this is a really good decision making protocol. And sometimes people come with these questions. They could be now like, who can run your content and editing, or it could be, who can run my finances, or I love the fuck yes. When you talk to that person, you your mind might try to decide based on like their qualifications, their experience, their referrals. But for the work you're doing, I think it's of uttermost importance to be able to find somebody that's a fuck yes, vibrational line. Like, do you feel excited and passionate to be able to pursue the intention I have with my brand? And if for them there's a hesitation, if for them there's a or it's a no. So I think working vibrationally speaking is gonna help a lot to be able to take these decisions. And of course, they have to be super proficient. They have to be full Jedi's doing their work, and they have to also have the qualifications and everything. But when you talk to them, it has to be fully intentional. But I think everything they do, if they are, and once they're a vibrational match to the work you're putting out there, it comes to you having a very clear image and intention of what is the big vision of the work you're doing. Because I find personally, I can speak of what I've done, if I'm not too clear on what is exactly how I want it to be, and it has to be what the ultimate goal it is, and what do I want my audience to be able to feel and to receive. If I'm not clear on that, I cannot expect miracles on anybody under me, and not under in terms of value, but just anybody that's being delegated the work I do. So I think just asking the divine to find that perfect match, somebody that's your cheerleader, somebody that's like, I can relax and just do my genius, as you were talking.
You just answered my question. There's two people. One of them is so aligned with me. She's not as qualified, but her excitement she literally was like, you add value to people. And I love that. And I love adding value to people. And her whole thing that sold me was her intention. So you just answered that for me. Thank you. Wow. I'm so excited. This is so fun.
I had that one written down because also, I mean, inside of Brands Meet Creators, our team is expanding so rapidly. Like I have to go hire someone new this upcoming week, and our team has like tripled this year. And so just understanding your way of thinking about this, Jose, is so expansive because it's got to be a fuck yes. It can't be like, oh, maybe. Like, no, it's got to be a fuck yes, and that is, I mean, that you could apply that to every area of life and every decision, and it makes things so much easier to think
So
about.
much
I
easier.
always I
And I think
always
like
take that from you.
and I think like so many times we try to convince ourselves of a thing. If I have to convince myself of something, then it's already a fuck no. I was talking about relationships recently, and like some people enter into a relationship from the beginning, like beginning stage, and they're like, yeah, but I mean, like if there's a but now, what about like 2 years later or 5 years later? And some people stick to that but even after they get married, and then they have kids trying to convince themselves. So I think it's so important to be able to follow that fuck yes. It's better to be brutally honest. Oh, it's not better, like it's of the most importance for one to be brutally honest with oneself, and therefore with everyone else in our relationships, in a circle, because this again elevates us, allows me to be more me, and allows you to be you. And even though you might not enjoy so much me being brutally honest, always with respect and with kindness and with compassion and lots of love and tenderness, it also allows you to show up more like you. So I think that fuck yes fuck no is a great simple biohacking, bioenhancing, life enhancing tool to be able to have in our toolkit.
Jose, our podcast, our two longest running episodes are both of the episodes with you, which is so exciting. I could do this for another 10 hours with you. Jose, where can people tap into your magic? Where can they come and get a slice of this and access some of the tools that you have to share?
I know it's always time flies, and when we're so excited to share what's alive for us. And again, thank you so much, guys, for having me. It's a treat and a delight, and excited to continue these conversations and learning from each one of you. Um, how so? I said at the beginning, I'm also working on some new online creation, and one of my big dreams and missions to share this with as many people as possible. And my one of my gifts is breathwork. I love breathwork. That's how we met, Nick. And I'm starting, very inspired by Nick, by the way. I must give credit where it goes. A school community, and um, the name is BU, and it's a community where we're gonna be gathering once a month to breathe, to connect. Once a month, there's gonna be a Q&A and inspiring mastermind coaching, yeah, kind of like what we're doing, but with other individuals that want to join. And there's gonna be also like a library of breathworks where you can access and have breathworks to connect throughout the day. If you need one to release stress, one to maybe expand more love. The quality, I talked about this on the other podcasts. How we breathe is how we live. So one of my gifts is to be able to share this with as many people as possible. So right now I will say skool.com/bu, and you will find a community for individuals like yourself that are looking to grow internally to be able to also expand externally. And also Instagram, I am dot Jose Reynoso.
I am so excited about this. I will make sure that it is linked in the episode description. Oh my goodness. It's breath work with Jose is one of those things that I can't put into words, but it will unlock things and ideas and callings inside of you that you didn't know were there. It will validate the ones that maybe you've been suppressing, and it will also help you say no to the things in your life that are not a fuck yes. It will bring you massive clarity, health, and wealth to join Jose's school community. I cannot endorse him enough as a coach, and I will make sure that that is linked below for everyone to check out. And if you guys are looking for more ways to monetize your creativity, find more freedom in your life, make sure you are subscribed to this podcast. And you can also check out, you can watch on YouTube, you can leave us a review. I feel like I can't even get the words out because I'm just digesting everything Jose has taught us today. Um, if you guys want to find more of me and Michelle, I am at Get Ahead with Nick on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else. Michelle is at Michelle JH with 2 L's, 4 E's, then a J, then an H. Jose, thank you so much for
Mhm.
joining us today. This was amazing.
Thank you guys. Much love.